Exhaustion, elation and disbelief. The fact we'd actually got back and made it in one go, it actually felt like it couldn't possibly be real. Hi, this is Splunk. Hello.
I suppose like a lot of people of my age, the Mini was the first car of choice.
The journey itself was originally about 11,500 kilometres, but due to the nature of the number of changes we had to do, it turned up to just under 11,000 kilometres. It's about 6,000 miles, and we actually did it in 35 days flat. It was an epic journey, and we faced everything from borders being closed, countries going into civil unrest, civil war, bribery, corruption, missing cars, wrong boats, the list went on and on.
Straight away I realised those two are more than capable to do anything. You can see clearly they've got a drive, they've got this huge amount of conviction in their eyes.
A rip-rolling roller coaster of a novel with thousands of sizzling hot Egyptians thrown in. No, it's seriously, I think it will help somebody who's planning a long-range journey to actually work out their strategy, because it's quite demanding. It's a lot harder than you think at first.
An unusual challenge. In fact, it's a very daring challenge, and you can see clearly that was for a superb initiative, a great conviction, a fantastic cause.
When you first start looking at routes, oh, that's easy, it's just around the corner. It actually takes quite a lot of planning, and I hope that this book will help people do that, and also that it will help people not get beset by the first pothole and give it up as a bad job, but actually think, okay, right, fine, I can't do it this way, what can I do to change track? This strange lady and her husband and their small donkey managed to do it in an old Mini. I must be able to do something exciting, because the world's a great place, and if you can get it there and actually see some of it in your own steam, rather than getting old and do it in a sort of in a bus full of other old people, it's got to be a good thing. For many years I've actually, as a child, used to read about fantastic places and about different countries and strange civilizations, so I always grew up with the ideas that I wanted to travel the world and see things. I've always wanted to get to Egypt, but the idea of driving to Egypt was inspired by my niece, who thought the whole possibility of even driving to Istanbul was impossible. So I mentioned it to Rob just in passing, and he thought it was a great idea, so we took it on board and off we went.
As a youngster, watching things such as the classic marathon rallies that were basically started at Tower Bridge, over to sort of Cortina in Italy and back within 5 or 6 days. So that's where the initial interest comes from in sort of classic cars and classic rallying. We've also got a Mark I Cooper that we've rallied on a sort of number of sort of international events, the sort of Monte Historic and the Classic Acropolis rallies.
Okay, many people have asked why we actually support Willow Foundation. It's not for any sort of deep, meaningful reason. It's just because they were a local charity to us, and what they believed in we held to our hearts. They actually support people who don't actually reach 40, which is the age we were when we went on the journey. And I thought, well, it's to give them a special day before the end. And if there's any way I can give some people the happiness that I've had in my life, that's the best thing in the world we could possibly do. Jean Christophe was very, very kind. At one point we were searching the world trying to find any celebrity that would basically wave us off to give the actual journey some credibility, because at that point there was an awful lot of people losing faith in what we were even doing at all. Jean Christophe very kindly lives in Hertfordshire, and he sort of very kindly said he'd actually happily wave us away, and in doing so said afterwards, okay, if you do a book, I'd love to write you a foreword.
Well, I think what drew me to this special occasion is the fact that at first I was very, very impressed by Nicky and Rob. Their attitude, extremely confident people, as a couple too, and mad. They must be mad. I mean, and you can see clearly the only reason they've done so is because for the good cause. You know, you can see clearly there is no. It is incredible to have to have no limits, you know, driving a shitty car, excuse the language, but he's actually quite a box who's older as me, and daring to go as far as Egypt.
The barn find, I suppose, like so many classic cars these days, we found on eBay It was being advertised by a garage down in Barnet, relatively close to us. They'd bought it, and its destiny was to be converted into a Cooper S. But we sort of popped along to see it, and we thought it is so original for a 1961 850 Mini. We'll keep it like that. And as it said in the book, the idea was just to leave it for years until I finally retire, and then restore it to concourse condition. But things happened, and hence Morris ended up in Egypt. It probably should have taken longer in hindsight, but it was very much a case of getting functional rather than pretty, getting reliable, and so I suppose it was about 8 or 9 months in total. It was mainly running gear, reliability, and don't worry too much about the aesthetics of things.
Unfortunately, the problem we had mainly was with the Middle East going into meltdown. Any potential sponsors lost all faith with the whole project. It became something far too risky to be involved with. Potentially, if we were actually kidnapped or even damaged on the way, or any sort of thing happened bad to us, it would seem bad on the sponsors. So sponsors just basically pulled out and ran away into the distance. And even people that wanted to sponsor Willow were very, very worried about it, because at the moment England itself is in a bit of a sort of financial crisis. So people were very, very careful with their money. Okay, hi, this is Splunk. Hello. Splunk's actually a stunt double mascot. He's not the original mascot, he's actually a mascot double. It was given to me by a student who I was working with at the time. She was so frightened that my actual mascot would be kidnapped and possibly damaged on the route that she came up with a Splunk, who became actually the saviour of the route. I don't think he brought us any luck particularly, but when things got tough between me and Rob in the car, we'd end up basically arguing each other through the donkey. Quite sad, really. And in doing so, it basically kept the friction right down to a minimum.
Well, I think it was a wonderful case of circumstance. Because at first, when we arrived, the boy was so excited seeing the car, waiting for the depart. And maybe he thought he was lightning, my queen brother or sister. But when he went inside, and God knows he tried to he had no hesitations, he was straight inside. And you can see he was very excited. It was like he's done it before. Then when we finally realized he lost one of his shoes, no options but just to let it there, as a good luck sign.
Absolutely, I would take an awful lot of padlocks. I certainly would make sure that I had a big contingency fund. £1,000 just isn't enough. And I wouldn't even bother contacting sponsors until maybe a month beforehand, because the world at the moment is so unstable. You just don't know what's going to happen in that last month up to it. The way we wanted to do, which is through Libya and sort of across through sort of Egypt and Syria once the borders reopen. The way it goes at the moment, I can't see it being easily done for the next 10 years. Will we do it again? Definitely. With Morris? Yeah, why not? A highlight for the trip. The highlight for the trip, without a shadow of a doubt, was standing on the Giza Plateau itself. You've just got the wind coming through. There aren't any tourists because of all the problems out there. There's no anybody, just us. And just got the wind and the sand, and just standing there finally, many thousands later, seeing Morris part with the Great Pyramid behind him. It was the most exceptionally wonderful feeling in the world. Seriously, the guys of Veloce were great. I could not have done it without your help.
It's great to have a target, a goal, and having it's inspiring. It's great. Traveling is fantastic if you've got a good car.
The finished product, when you sort of see it even in layout, it's like, I did that, and it's a really great feeling, to be honest.